told you, you stupid fool. Did you really think you gonna hit me? Huh? Bow, bow, bam! Over.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So the development of this story has gone from 0 to 100 within the last 24 hours. First news broke that Stephen Fulton and Naoya Inoue were in negotiations, and only hours later it was reported that they have both agreed to terms. And as usual, the fighter on the coincidental list, Stephen Fulton, is the one that is bending over backwards. He's the champion, but he's flying over to Japan to fight Inoue in his own backyard. Devin Haney just did it to become the undisputed champion, the youngest undisputed champion in all of boxing. And now Stephen Fulton is doing it to fight against old media's pound for pound king. This man, Stephen Fulton, deserves so much credit to be willing to do something like this in the position that he's in terms of being the champion in this fight and not the challenger. They all want this fight to be in Japan. Obviously, Inoue wants it to be in Japan, but I'm sure when it comes to the networks, they had no problem with it being over there because Inoue, he does not have a fan base in America. But I tell you this, if they would have had this fight in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center, they would have had a really, really nice crowd. But at the same time, Fulton going to Japan, it makes the win even bigger because I truly believe he's going to beat Inoue. The fact that the champion, Stephen Fulton, is willing to fight this man Inoue in his own backyard, risking the chance of getting robbed, shows you how confident Fulton is going into this fight. It's pretty crazy when you think about it, because it wasn't that long ago, I'm talking about weeks damn near, that fans were flooding Stephen Fulton's social media accounts, accusing him of ducking Inoue. You guys may recall Stephen Fulton, he went live to respond to all of the fans that was accusing him of ducking Inoue. He did a long live, and although damn near 100 people asked him, are you going to fight Inoue? He ignored those questions. He didn't even talk that much about Inoue. In fact, he talked about MJ. He talked about fighting other fighters. He completely ignored the topic, right? So of course, more and more people, they start accusing him of ducking Inoue. And Fulton, he kept saying, man, there's so many things I want to tell you guys, but you have to understand there's a time to say it. And a lot of us, at least the real boxing fans, they were hoping when Fulton was saying that, he was implying that he is working on a deal to fight against Inoue. And that turned out to be the exact case. You know, when it comes to this whole boxing game, America never ceases to amaze me. When I made my video reporting the news that they were in negotiations, I gave a little bit of a small breakdown. I told you guys, I don't do predictions too often. I only do predictions when I feel extremely confident, when I am very comfortable in picking a winner. So once again, I told you guys in that video that Fulton is going to win this fight, and I explained why, but the closer we get to the fight, the more breakdowns I'm going to do when it comes to this fight. But when I said that Fulton is going to win this fight, it just amazes me how some of the fans in the comment section, I'm talking about, of course, fans that live in America, they were extremely offended that I had the nerve to pick the American boxer to beat the Japanese fighter. And it's funny because some of them got upset in the comment section, but none of them disagree with anything I said in the video. In fact, the few people that were in my comment section that were mad, not only did they not disagree with me, they also never picked Inoue to win the fight, meaning they're acknowledging what I said logically makes sense. It just hurts their feelings that they have to listen to the truth, because these are race fans that we're talking about. They don't care about what makes sense. They only care about someone saying the things that they want to hear, which in this case would be Inoue is going to destroy Stephen Fulton. And if I were to say that, once again, it would not matter if it were true or not. It wouldn't matter if they know deep down that Fulton is going to win this fight. It's therapeutic because that's what makes them feel better when they hear it. Now listen, with that being said, this is truly the most significant fight in the sport of boxing today. Why? Because old media has tried to convince fans that Inoue is the Michael Jordan of the sport. Better than Crawford, Errol Spence, Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, Bivol, Jamel Charlo, and even Stephen Fulton. And guys, understand this, just because I'm picking Stephen Fulton to win the fight, I'm not suggesting that this is an easy fight. This is a 50-50 fight. But when I say a 50-50 fight, it doesn't mean that the fight is going to be extremely close and it's going to be a win by split decision. It just means going into the fight, if you look at Inoue's talent and his skills, you look at Stephen Fulton's skills and talent, that makes it a 50-50 fight on paper. But I think when it comes to the actual fight, there's a very good chance that Fulton will completely dominate Inoue. And when I say dominate him, that means at least 9 rounds to 3. Now, and I'm about to say something that's really about to hurt the racist fans' feelings. While Inoue has a really good puncher's chance, meaning he could catch Fulton and knock him out, I believe Fulton has a much better chance of knocking out Inoue. You often hear fans focus too much on who has more power, but it's not always the power that knocks you out. The majority of times, it's the punch you don't see that knocks you out. Or it's a fighter that keeps chipping away at that wall until it comes crumbling down. Remember, Muhammad Ali fought Joe Frazier 3 times and never even knocked him down. George Foreman knocks out Joe Frazier in 2 rounds, and then guess who knocks out George Foreman? Muhammad Ali. Shane Mosley loses to Miguel Cotto. Miguel Cotto gets knocked out by Margarito. Guess who knocks out Margarito? Sugar Shane Mosley. One of Floyd Mayweather's best quotes is, "The quickest way to get knocked out is trying to knock someone out." Once again, I told you guys that when I picked Stephen Fulton to beat Inoue, there were some fans that were mad about it. Just a sprinkle of fans in my comment section. Which brings me back to my point when I was talking about American fans. It's just amazing when you think about the fact that you have American fans that get upset when you say the American is going to win, which shows you the amount of racism that exists in America. I mean, just think about this for a second. Can you imagine a Japanese boxing fan getting mad at another Japanese boxing fan for saying the Japanese fighter is going to win? He's going to beat Stephen Fulton. Or imagine a Mexican fan being mad at another Mexican fan for saying the Mexican is going to win. It would never happen. And understand, there's a difference from saying, look, I think Fulton is going to win. I think Inoue is going to win. There's a difference from that versus being upset and angry as if someone said something about one of your family members, right? And you took offense to the fact that once again, someone broke down the fight and said, I believe Stephen Fulton is going to win. But what's so crazy about this is, as bad as old media did not want this fight to happen for obvious reasons, you actually have some of the biggest boxing websites out there that have never gave Stephen Fulton any credit. They never put him on their pound for pound list like they put Inoue. And believe it or not, because I've seen some articles, some of them are actually picking Stephen Fulton to beat Inoue. And once again, guys, these are websites that are extremely pro Inoue. So just think about that for a second. You have Inoue as either number 1, the best fighter in the world, or number 2, the best fighter in the world. You don't even have Stephen Fulton on the list. But once you find out they're fighting against each other, you pick Stephen Fulton to win the fight? It proves the exact point I've always made, is that you've never felt that Inoue was the best fighter in the world, but you were just hoping that he would never have to fight anyone that would possess a challenge that would expose that he's not the best fighter in the world. They did the same thing with Devin Haney and Lomachenko. Once they thought that Lomachenko would never have to fight Devin Haney, you remember Lomachenko, he vacated the belt like 3 years ago to avoid his mandatory, who was Devin Haney. And remember, guys, before Devin Haney became Lomachenko's mandatory, Loma was fighting all of his mandatories. But as soon as Haney became his mandatory, Loma gave up his belt. Well, I bring this all up to say, of course, when Lomachenko was successful at avoiding Devin Haney, old media was still calling Loma pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world, even after he lost to Lopez, they still had him pound for pound on their list in the top 10, but they didn't have Devin Haney on the list, despite the fact that Devin Haney actually beat George Kambosos, that beat Lopez, that beat Lomachenko. You guys have to understand, if this was the Olympics, that would make Devin Haney the gold medalist in that weight class. Let's just say the top seed in your bracket is a fighter from Cuba, right? And a fighter from Uzbekistan, he beats the Cuban. But then the American, he beats the fighter from Uzbekistan in the gold medal match. Once again, that makes you the gold medalist. And no one ever tries to say, oh, but you didn't have to fight the Cuban fighter. You only had to fight the Uzbekistan fighter. So what makes this situation analogous to the Stephen Fulton versus Inoue situation is once they found out that Lomachenko was fighting against Devin Haney, what did they do? They removed Loma from the pound for pound list and they put Devin on it, which means they feel deep down that Devin Haney is a better fighter than Vasyl Lomachenko. Now, and I'm not saying there's a guarantee that Devin Haney beats Lomachenko, because Loma will not be an easy opponent. But once again, the fact that they are picking, or a lot of them are picking, Fulton to beat Inoue and Devin Haney to beat Lomachenko, it tells you the whole story. We know what time it is. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Diki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodiki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram. Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com.